Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself, ntnm.org to check out on the show. Links to YouTube. We're real big on CAPS, caps24.org. And speaking of CAPS, well, actually, it's election time. That's the most important thing, so I want to make sure you get out there to vote Tuesday. Hope you got your copy of Jewish Chicago in hand. It is more than legal for you to bring it into the voting booth. At this point, it's a pleasure to introduce a candidate for alderman in the 41st Ward. And speaking of CAPS, a police sergeant who was a B team leader, Richard Gonzalez. How you doing, Sarge?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me, Avi.
Good. My pleasure, Richard. And why don't you tell us about what you'd like to accomplish as alderman?
Sure. Well, I'm running for alderman in the 41st Ward. There are three things that we really look for.
Want to give us the boundaries?
Sure. The 41st Ward goes as far north as Howard. It's kind of a funky ward, divides differently, but it goes as far north as Howard, goes as far south as Gunnison, as far west as the city limits, and we stop east on Nagel.
Very good. Okay, so now, sorry to interrupt.
Sure. There are three issues that we really feel strong about in the 41st Ward that, if elected, I want to concentrate on and work very hard on. First is education. 41st Ward has probably some of the best schools in the city, if not in the state, public schools. And this is a testament to the families and the parents who live in the 41st Ward. What's happening in the 41st Ward is that we're being punished. We're being punished for having some of the best schools. And when I say punished, we don't receive the amount of funding necessary to continue being one of the best schools in the city. The funding that we currently receive right now, a lot of it comes from fundraisers, from dedicated parents who care about their children. We have not received any increase in funding in the last 10 years, although enrollment in our schools have more than doubled. So that's something that we want to look into, how to bring new funding into the schools of the 41st Ward. There's also business economic development. The 41st Ward is located so close to the metro station. It's located very close to the highways, the blue line. And we believe that we would be able to attract new businesses to come into the 41st Ward. Right now, if you walk through our business district, you'll see a lot of vacant units, something we never had 5-10 years ago. And so I think that the next alderman has to be someone who's proactive and thinking of ways to generate new business and make it more attractive for folks to come into the ward and establish a new business there. We've prepared and we're working very hard as we speak, actually, on a master plan where we would sit down with the local chambers and devise a way of attracting new businesses to the ward. I think it's something that we can accomplish. I think we lose a lot of business to Rosemont, and if we put our heads together, local business chambers, residents, and the alderman's office, we should be able to bring to the 41st Ward a lot of new business. The third item that we're really concerned about is public safety. As you're aware, O'Hare Airport falls within the purview of the 41st Ward. We have police officers, the aviation police in O'Hare Airport, and for some reason or other, these officers who are state certified are not allowed to carry weapons, which I find puzzling, especially in light of what happened in Russia. Our airports have to be well protected, and we need to be proactive and not reactive. We have to make sure that something that which occurred in Russia does not occur here at O'Hare Airport.
Yeah, you're talking about 35 people getting blown up by a suicide bomber.
Absolutely, it could have been worse. Yeah. And I think that we take that for granted. And as alderman, I want to make sure that O'Hare Airport becomes one of the safest airports in the nation. We're also talking about deploying police officers, and we have to be very, very understanding of the fact that no one alderman is going to be able to go to city council and say, my residents don't want deployment, we're keeping our officers here. It's simply not the way it works. You have to forge alliances with the other councilmen. You have to be able to, you need to be able to speak to them, make them understand why it's important to look at other avenues in order to increase the vacancies that we have in the police department. You have to be sensitive to their cultural backgrounds. People necessarily are not going to listen to what's the problems in the 41st Ward. They want to know a solution for the entire city. And I think that we've got good solutions. I think there's ways of manning the Chicago Police Department without having to actually go out there and hire new police officers and spend money on benefits. And there's retired police officers that would love to come back to the city and work on a part-time basis. These folks could work inside, and we have a lot of officers that are working inside that we can put them back on the streets.
I strongly agree with that. It's always been a big bone of mine that may make people retire too early, and they are so valuable. They get grabbed up by other places. Bang, bang, bang.
Absolutely, and they've got the experience. They've got experience like you wouldn't believe, and those are the guys we're letting go, the more experienced officers. And I really believe that these officers would be an asset to work inside the station. There also should be some type of a program where we could save on training. There's suburban officers that would love the opportunity, the chance to just come in and work for the city of Chicago. So if there was some kind of a transfer, a lateral transfer program where these officers who want to come into the city can do so without having to have that extensive training. For the most part, the officers that are working in the suburbs train the Chicago Police Department Academy anyway. So they're pretty trained as it is. A little course that would refresh them and make them more knowledgeable as to our policies would take a lot less time, and we could save money that way. I've also been a proponent of radios. Now, as police officers, we are allowed to carry an off-duty weapon. And if we really want more eyes on the streets, we should have each officer carry an off-duty radio. If I see a crime going on, and I'm an off-duty officer, it's very simple for me to grab my radio and say, Sergeant Gonzalez, beat 1421, there's a crime in progress, please send me a car. The way it works today, I have to get on a cell phone, it goes to a call taker. The call taker then gives it to a dispatcher. The dispatcher then takes it and gives it to a beat car. By that time, the crime is committed, the person is gone. So there's ways of innovating the police department, making shortcuts that will save taxpayer money and at the same time reduce crime.
Very good. Would you like to give us your contact information?
Sure. We are located at 7748 West Devon. That's where our campaign office is. Our website is www.richardforchicago.com. Our office number is 773-639-1981.
Richard Gonzalez, thank you very much. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Eric. And I also want to thank Kelly Tarrant for getting me to introduce us in the first place. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.